My name's Jason Chu. I'm a rapper, poet, and Christian. This is 5 conversations between me and my friends, between artists, between believers, between Asian Americans. It's about what we make, where we come from, and how we live. This is Beyond Belief.
I think I believe in a higher power, I definitely do. I'm not religious. I mean, I've come in and out of faith. Like when I was a kid, I went to Christian school, but not because my family was religious, just because it was the best school in the district, and
That's
it's
the
very
Asian
typical
reason.
Asian reason.
Yeah.
But at the time, none of my parents were religious. And I actually remember one time coming home, and I had to memorize a prayer because we had to do stuff like that. And then I went to my mom. Was like,
But then she was like, I believe in God, but I don't believe in every word of the Bible. And I was like, what? And I remember as a little kid, I remember feeling like, what?
Yeah.
Really took me by surprise. Yeah, that's when I was like, oh.
So I kind of disconnected from it a little bit because I was like, oh, I guess you don't have to. And then I went to a private school for a year that was Catholic in high school. School was a bunch of really pretty blonde people. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. Catholicism is so cool. Everyone's beautiful. And I want to believe in God because I want to look like an Abercrombie model.
So I remembered back to freshman year of high school, the liturgy, and I said, maybe I could try out the Catholic Church and see what it's about. And so I went and checked it out, and then I was like, I really like it.
I'm Teresa, and I'm a comedian living in Los Angeles.
I'm Jenyi, and I am a musician, also living in Los Angeles.
But it was really interesting to me how the conversations that we had, in a lot of ways, it felt like it was taking the same information, or it was a lot of the same inputs. Both of you guys talked about the Catholic school in high school, right? But kind of from slightly different perspectives, or even it felt like you had the same perspective but went different places with it. In what ways does going through those foundational experiences shape the art you're making now?
Oh, I mean, 100% it affects it, because so much of doing comedy is having to look at your point of view of life and then making it funny, but also just filtering your experiences through a very specific point of view and trying to make it relatable to the audience. So a lot of your point of view comes from your, experiences growing up. So just doing comedy was a way to look through my childhood and teenage years and be like, oh, that's an interesting story, or why did I do that at that time? Be like, oh, I did that because I was motivated by this. And then there's a real aspect to it, but then also oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, for me, it's a really cool feeling to have a song and then to play it and then have people in the audience be like, that, you read my mind. When that happens, I'm like, yes. I write a lot about love, and that's kind of a more universal thing. And I think maybe why I'm drawn to that is because it's a little more universal, so I don't feel like I'm on the outside, because everyone feels that,
Do you and Jen ever does this ever become a point of contention in your guys' because I know now you guys were separate for a while, but now you're living together, now you're doing a lot of creativity together.
We don't get in arguments in terms of, if you're talking about things she believes a lot of the same things I do, socially. She didn't convert to Catholicism and then was anti-gay marriage and things like that. So I think on that aspect, I still know who she is as a person. The religion doesn't define her. It's just a part of her life that helps her stay grounded and find faith.
Your identity as bisexual, that also kind of you were coming to terms with that again after you guys sort of split up and were on the different coasts. So what was that like for you, Jen, when you started talking to your sister and she was like, oh, I'm realizing these things? Does your sister's sexuality, does that impact your understanding of Christianity and your pursuit of Catholicism?
I don't think that Teresa's sexuality per se affected my faith, but LGBT issues and she said some social issues really did play a big part. Because when I was going through RCIA, which is the process you go through to go get baptized when you're an adult, I was actually going to leave RCIA and not continue. I actually went one day and was thinking I'm going to tell them I didn't want to go through with this, because I think that was when Prop 8 had passed, and I was really devastated. And it was around that time, and I asked the priest about it. He was like, well, the thing you got to know is that Catholics believe that God is love. And he gave me a little wink. That's when I realized, oh, all those lobbyists, they're doing things in the name of what they believe in. And I realized, oh, religion didn't have to be this rigid thing and these politics that a lot of people see it as.
You know, there's still a lot of institutional issues with religion, and you know, the Catholic Church is not exempt from that, which are human things. I know that that's why I still do say I believe in God, because I don't think any of that is actually the spiritual or God part of it. But on the same vein, it's like, well, then why are we just pushing things so hard? Like, nobody's perfect.
A lot of people think that millennials are moving away from church. But I personally kind of don't think that's true. I think what it is millennials are moving away from dead religion. You know, it's kind of like, if we don't get anything there, we'll bounce.
Right.
But I feel like there's a lot of people who have your story also, who found something that they needed, or realized that church was a place to get something they were looking for already. You know, like, what would you say it was that you found at church?
Just something to hold on to, right? Something when, I mean, it's so corny, but that's why we have faith.
I think faith is supposed to be positive. It's supposed to help you grow. It's supposed to like help you get through life's obstacles, and also it's meant to be questioned. I think faith is something very like personal that helps you, you know, when you're having doubts about your own life, that you can turn to. Like last year, Jen and I lost our little brother, and that was a very hard time for us. But I think both of us used our art afterwards to kind of get back on our feet, because it's sort of like the unimaginable thing. Like, neither of us, I think, saw it coming, and so I believe that there's always a way to go on, even when things get really bad, or even when it's the end. You know, if the world ends tomorrow and one person is left alive, and that person's you, like, could you go on? Yeah, I think so. I believe that there's always something to go on.
I don't want to believe that there's nothing there and that there's no hope, because then it's even more sad. That's even more sad to believe that there's bad things and there's no one there. So it's like, I think it's nice to think that there's hope. I think that's the main thing that I was drawn to.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.